What really should happen when you look at those images is that you breathe in the air, the salty air of the sea. You feel the sand underneath your feet or even on your skin. It's sticky from the salt, and you feel the wind blow through your hair. The sun is shining, and you're just considering, do you want to go for another swim? Or do you just want to enjoy and read a book, put some sunscreen, and enjoy the warmth?
Welcome to the Sound of You podcast. This is a space where we have inspiring, thoughtful conversations about the voice, about healthy self-expression, and all things spirituality and personal growth. My name is Friederike. I am your host, and I am so excited that you're here. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to a new episode of The Sound of You. I'm so happy you're here. In this episode, it will be separated in two segments. In the first segment, I will go back to what I did in the very first episode, which is I'll answer 3 randomized questions, which are super fun. You will get to know me a lot better, and you will also maybe have something to think about yourself. In the second part of this episode, we will dive into manifestation. And I just want to give you a heads up and tell you that there are some patterns that I see in the spiritual community that I'm pointing out in this episode with a rather strong attitude. And I want to make sure that you know that this is not about bashing the spiritual scene. This is not about invalidating your process wherever you might stand. Because I'm very aware that at certain stages in our lives, we really need validation for where we are. We really need validation for things that aren't working. We really need to feel through things, and I still do myself. Regardless of that, the patterns that I'm pointing out are very acute in the spiritual community and also in the personal growth field. Especially all those people who want to manifest something that is not there yet. And so I encourage you to listen with an open heart and open mind and take something away that maybe you never really thought about before. If you have any questions regarding the concepts I share, or if you have ideas, or if something got triggered inside you, I really encourage you to get in touch with me, send me a message on my social media, or email me to the email address that is linked in the episode notes. So without further ado, enjoy. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to a new episode of the Sound of You podcast. Today, we are going to talk about not only, but mainly, manifestation. There is something that came to me a week ago or so. It's a phrase that just keeps ringing in my ears every day. And it is manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary. Manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary. And what I mean by that, I will get to later in this episode. For now, I will start with something that y'all resonated with very much, is something that I did in the first episode that I ever published here, which is I went on a random question generator and I just answered a few questions so that you guys could get to know me better. Because a lot of you actually wrote me and said, hey, this was so much fun. This is such a good idea. I felt like
well, there's always something to share. There's always something new to discover about a person. So why don't I just go on that page and just do it again? So here we are. The website is called thestoryshack.com if you ever want to use it. And the first question is, what is socially acceptable today that you think won't be in 10 years? Ooh, this is such an interesting question. So something that we think that is okay now that won't be okay in 10 years. Wow. I really honestly have not the slightest clue because there's so many directions a society could go in. I would hope that the discrimination of LGBTQI people will be not acceptable. It isn't acceptable to parts of the society here, but it's still very much the norm for other parts of the society. I'm not sure if 10 years will be enough to change that. Then there's another thing about food. Well, I have been a vegan for 7.5 years, and mind you, I don't judge you if you eat meats or animal products. I just recently actually tried some cheese. It tasted amazing, but I'm still going back to veganism. But I do hope it will be less acceptable to eat tons and tons of meat because of the detrimental effects that it has on the environment. Not to speak about even, the torture that it's causing other sentient beings that we claim to love. So that's one thing that I see moving a little bit faster just because of the climate crisis and all, but yeah. Okay, let's go for one more question. Do you enjoy people watching? Don't we all? Don't we all? I was just saying to a friend of mine, I'm like, don't we all love a good story? Because I was telling him something and he was like, oh my God, tell me more. I want to know all about it. So, yeah. Well, it depends. It depends because sometimes if there's a fight or if there's behavior that I don't want to support, or that triggers me in a way, I would rather distance myself and not keep observing that. And yes, deal with the trigger, but still, in that case, I wouldn't enjoy people watching. But generally, like when I'm in cafes, for example, and I sit there, then I always have an ear on everybody else's table. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now I'm wondering if the next question might be giving me a little bit of a transition to the topic that I want to talk about today. Let's see. Ooh, this actually does provide a transition. Okay, the next question is, do you consider telling white lies to be okay? For me personally, no. But I don't mean that for everybody else in the room. Or for me personally, in very rare occasions. The reason why is I do think there can be such things as, innocent lies or lies that come with the desire to surprise someone, positively and have them enjoy something, The thing is, it's all about your frequency. It's about what are you sending out, and it's about how aligned are you inside. Is a white lie just an escape to tell the truth that you actually would like to tell? Then that's a rupture in your energy. That's a total misalignment of energy. And that will totally probably get you in similar situations again. So I am definitely a person who is very self-aware and very self-conscious, and I have huge difficulties with lies. also with other people. If you lie to me, that's going to be a very difficult relationship, if it's going to be one at all. All right, here's a transition about energy and manifestation. Since you are listening to me, since you're in my field, you have probably heard of manifestation and manifestation techniques. If you haven't, manifestation is a term used especially in the spiritual community. Also, if you look around in the personal growth field, and it means to make manifest, to make appear or happen in your life what isn't there yet, but what you desire. So that could be anything from a relationship to a job to money to I just want a beautiful new blue chair, whatever. It can be literally anything that is not there yet that you desire, that you want to make manifest in your life. So manifestation and manifestation techniques usually refers to the time gap that is between the not having and the having. So assuming that you can actively do something that will make that thing appear in your life. Whatever it is, even if it is a suitcase full of money. Now, let's not go into this one. Here's the thing. Personally, I feel like this whole industry of manifestation techniques, it's like a fraud sometimes. It's misleading because there's a very important element missing to it, which is the life in this in-between phase, which is actually not an in-between phase, it's the now. It's the now and this moment and the next moment and tomorrow, a new now. I was talking about the new now in my last episode. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. So usually what happens, okay, let's say a manifestation tool could be a vision board. A vision board meaning you have some sort of board on the wall or wherever, where you put up images. You can even have it on your phone. Images and words and whatever stories of what you desire. So let's say that is riding a horse along the beach. That's very precise. It could just be like vacation at the beach. So that would mean that you would put a lot of beautiful photos that you find beautiful of the beach, of anything that makes you feel like you're at the beach, up on that vision board. So whenever that you look at it, you become reminded of that, and eventually it becomes part of your reality. So here's the thing that what most people don't teach is that when you stay in that, when you just do that, forget it. Like, it's not going to happen, or it's going to take way too long, because what it's going to make you aware of is that you're currently obviously not there. You are looking at your vision board, dreaming of a place where you are currently not, which means you are not living right now where you are. And you're probably actually feeling emotional dissonance, unpleasant feelings in your body. Now, if you know anything about manifestation, you know that that's going to be completely counterproductive to stay in that state. What really should happen when you look at those images, Vision Board 101, what really should happen when you look at those images is that you breathe in the air, the salty air of the sea. You feel the sand underneath your feet or even on your skin. It's sticky from the salt, and you feel the wind blow through your hair. The sun is shining, and you're just considering, do you want to go for another swim? Or do you just want to enjoy and read a book. Put some sunscreen and enjoy the warmth of the sun. Hearing the waves come in and out. Beautiful. Yeah. That's what should happen when you look at that vision board. That you take your full body in the now, in the present moment, into that state of, that's where I am now. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my God. The ocean, I can hear it, and the smell, and just this wind, and everything is a little sticky, but who cares? I still enjoy it. That's what should happen. And that means aliveness in the present moment. And what I see happening a lot in the spiritual community, and sadly, a lot in the trauma healing community, where we are aware of our patterns often, we are aware of inner child healing, we are aware that this involves facing our pains, and that will raise our vibration and all of that. But then there is this one wound that we never heal. There's this one wound that we don't heal, and it's that nobody was taking care of me, which brings about the desire, somebody's going to take care of me now. Now that I understood what happened to me and that it's actually not my fault, now that I understand that someone's going to pick up that inner child, even if that's myself, that's a weird thing about it. I hope you're following me here because it's a bit complex. So I learned in this technique that I go and I take care and nurture my inner child. And still, there's something that's being created that is a certain expectancy from the outside to come and nourish us. Because even if I go into my inside and I nourish my inner child, it's something from the out to that inner child. It's an outside force that is coming to save me. And for some reason, there is something that happens. As much as I love those techniques and I've practiced them myself, and mind you, I got a lot of healing through them. And it's often the most healing experience to actually have another human being with you and witness what you are going through. And that is amazing. And I have provided this for my clients countless times. And I know of the healing powers of presence and connection. And yet, there's something that happens in many people that you will then say, there's this outside force that now is going to fulfill all my dreams. And then manifestation becomes just a waiting at a bus stop that doesn't exist. It's doing some techniques and going through your life waiting for something to happen. And that's not happening. I could talk about this for hours because yes, it's about the emotions. What I want to get to is ultimately, we all know people who know nothing of manifestation techniques and who still seem to be living a pretty great life. How did they do that? How dare they live a good life without knowing all this stuff that I know, without healing, without the manifestation tools? There must be something wrong with that. I bet that these people are very alive. I bet that the people that you admire, that you follow, whose lives you would like to have sometimes, they are very alive. Alive meaning you feel their life force alive in them. And the phrase that came to me, and I mentioned earlier, manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary, comes from a realization that I personally had. Listen, I have now it's 2022, 7 years of hypnosis, inner child healing, the completion process, parts work, energy work, Reiki. And yet, there are certain things in my life that I desire that are still not there. And I'm like, how could that be? And what's going on? And why am I feeling lethargic at times? And I realized, like, wait a minute. Actually, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I was a freaking master manifester. Like, all the things that I was doing, everyone was like, how do you do all these things? You can't be doing all these things. I was like, yes, I can, because I enjoy them. The trick is I was fully alive. And I can see it now. As recently, I have started becoming fully alive again in the past year. And it changes freaking everything. Being fully alive in the ordinary means you accept your life fully 100% as it is now. As it is now. With all your messiness, with everything that doesn't work, with your trauma, with your desires, with your dreams, with your not haves yet, with your fucked up this, with your messed up that, you take it all. And you say, cool, that's where I am. That's where I am. Awesome. So, what can I do from now? What can I do from here? What do I want to do? A lot of people in the spiritual community, and same thing, I see this pattern over and over and over again. We overthink so much. Oh my God, I don't know what I like. First of all, I'm sorry if I'm invalidating you. You do know what you like. You might not like the thought of liking what you like, because maybe it's not approved by the spiritual community or by your family or by whoever, but somewhere you know, or you have an inclination. Go find out, do things. And then we sit and we wait instead of going out there doing things we enjoy. I recently had a former client of mine tell me that she's feeling so much better since she started dancing. I'm like, finally, you are alive. It's so beautiful. Because she enjoys it. Because it's something that makes her feel alive. And even if we go through shit, we are alive in that. Can you be alive in that? And I know that what I'm saying might be very triggering to some of you, and I apologize. I know that if I had heard me say what I'm saying now a few years ago, I would have felt very invalidated, because maybe you're at a different point in your life where you need assistance, where you are not okay, where you struggle with accepting. However, I promise you, it's the cure. It's the cure, becoming alive. Becoming alive, seizing the opportunities that you have in the now. Now! Even if it seems like nothing is possible, that is not true. You can still go to the kitchen probably and get a glass of water. It could be as simple as that, honestly. But take your life and all its messiness. And you know what happens? Coming back to what I was saying earlier, white lies. It shifts your vibration. As soon as you become alive, as soon as you infuse your life with acceptance, your vibration shifts. Your vibration shifts as soon as you infuse your life with acceptance and with actions that come out of this acceptance. For example, what I've also seen a lot in the spiritual scene is people very unhappy with their jobs and then quitting their jobs and then staying in a very precarious financial situation because they haven't found their dream job. Really? Are you going to manifest your dream job from a miserable emotional state? And yes, I am aware that you can change that emotional state through emotional healing. However, that emotional healing practice is going to be greatly enhanced if you still infuse your life with acceptance, with radical honesty of how it is now, and becoming alive in that, living in that fully, taking the steps that you can from there. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay like this forever. Find something to become alive. And that's when everything will shift. Your vibration will shift. You will see possibilities that weren't there before. You will meet people all of a sudden that resonate with you because they can feel your true aliveness. Don't we all want people that surround us, that, where we can be fully ourselves? Well, that only happens if we are fully alive, if we show ourselves the way that we are, if we bring ourselves to the table how we are in that moment. And that's when magic will happen. That's when you become magic. Because you are magic. You are freaking magical unicorn, dragon, whatever sunflower on the field. Call it whatever you like. But you are magic. You are. You're freaking magical and amazing. And when you start living that, from whatever fucked up place you might be in, when you start living that, my God, your world will change. I'm going to leave you with that. Manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary. There's so much that I could say to this. Even the word ordinary. But then this episode is going to be very long. One thing that is important to me, this is not about bashing the spiritual scene at all. Not about bashing emotional healing, about manifestation techniques, about drama. It's not to invalidate any of that. I practice that. I facilitate that with great success. I'm just pointing my finger. Yes, my finger. My voice. I'm pointing my voice. I'm voicing the patterns that I've seen again and again, and that I would love to help change, because it's going to make change so much easier and so much faster. So, manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary. manifest the extraordinary by becoming fully alive in the ordinary. I'll see you next episode.
You just listened to the Sound of You podcast. And if you want to free your self-expression, be confident in who you are, and release old junk that really doesn't serve you anymore, get in touch with me and join the tribe. Bless this world with the sound of you.